Hey everybody, it's Jeremy Bradley here, and it's time for the BuffRadio.com entertainment wrap-up presented by Buff Boy Brewing Company.
JB's Entertainment Wrap-Up.
Brought to you by BuffBoyBrewing.com. For a great cup of joe, there's one thing you should know. Your morning brew can also be playful. Buff Boy Brewing guys make the temperature rise, and you'll surely feel naughty when you swallow their coffee. Shop Buff Boy Brewing's premium collections of coffee and tea at BuffBoyBrewing.com. Buff Boy Brewing, you can't get enough buff. Here's what's making news this July 29th. Comedians have come under fire in recent years as an overly sensitive society gets more and more offended by the simplest things. But there are, well, at least two celebs, but there's a lot more, who have no time for people's sensitivities. And that's Ricky Gervais and Judi Dench. Gervais regularly asked if he softens his humor or censors himself when he's got a joke to tell, right? Well, the answer, as you can imagine, is a resounding no. Quote, "I don't tell people not to be offended. I tell them I don't care if they are. Be offended if you want. It makes it funnier for me. You can't help by what you're offended by, but don't expect me to care. It's a myth that I go out to offend. I never go out to offend. I just know that it's probably going to happen because everyone's different. There's nothing you can say, particularly anything that's mildly interesting or contentious or your viewpoint, that someone somewhere won't find offensive." Judi Dench also does not have time for your sensitivities. She reacted to disclaimers at the start of movies advising of trigger warnings, trigger in quotes, right? Now, if you haven't heard, movie studios and streamers are putting warnings at the beginning of some movies saying that, some people might be triggered by either a new film or one that's been around for decades that never needed a sensitivity warning until now. Dench said, quote, "If you're that sensitive, don't go to the theater because you could be very shocked. Where is the surprise of seeing and understanding it in your own way?" End quote. When she heard about these warnings, she said, quote, "My God, it must be a pretty long trigger warning before King Lear or Titus Andronicus. Crikey, is that really what happens now?" End quote. Yeah, kind of does. Earlier this summer, we talked about Howard Stern cutting back his radio show on SiriusXM after his summer break. It made headlines last year that Stern's audience is a fraction of what it used to be. Tens of millions of listeners compared to now, barely a couple 100,000. And while it's rumored Stern is not being paid anywhere close to the previously reported $100 million per year, people are thinking it's much, much lower because of the new schedule that we talked about, right? 1 day a week. And he's let much of his staff go as well. Well, a source said of Stern, quote, "He feels badly for these people. He's not heartless, and he says he did everything in his power to save as many jobs as he could, but the fact is he needs to scale back. He's 72 years old now and wants to enjoy this stage of his life, and that means working less," end quote. Still, the source said Stern's summer vacation reeks of richness. Quote, "Enjoying a summer break in the lap of luxury surrounded by mega-rich people, the contrast couldn't be more depressing for the people who are out of a job and wondering how they're going to support their families, and here he is living like a lord," end quote. Remember, we heard that the laid-off employees were told on a Zoom call on a Monday. That's check of your celeb headlines for this Wednesday, July 29th. I'm back tomorrow right here on the BuffRadio.com entertainment wrap-up presented by Buff Boy Brewing Company. Till next time, I'm Jeremy Bradley.
For a great cup of joe, there's one thing you should know. Your morning brew can also be playful. Buff Boy Brewing guys make the temperature rise, and you surely feel naughty when you swallow our coffee. If you want some